Hi, fourth graders, it's Ms. Parzik here. Today we are talking about engaging beginnings, specifically in our realistic fiction. And we've been talking about engaging beginnings for a long time now, throughout the whole year. And you may be wondering, why are we still talking about one sentence? Well, that's because it's actually very important. It's a very important part in our writing because it is the first thing our reader sees. It's going to make our reader want to keep reading or put that down, okay? And you may have heard of engaging beginnings being called hooks, and that's really because you want to hook that reader and get them really stuck or attached to your reading. So you can think about it as we are going to be fishing today. We are going to be fishing for readers, okay? So imagine that your pole and your hook is kind of in your lure. All of that is your first sentence, your engaging beginning, and that you are trying to catch as many fish, as many readers as possible. So today, like I said, we're going fishing, okay? And I'm going to be showing you some lures that are going to help you catch as many fish as possible. So our first one is using dialogue or talking in that first sentence, okay? So an example of this would be, "What a beautiful day for a boat ride," said Dad. And I said the word "said," which it would probably be better if I said something like yelled or saying, so that way I know what type of expression that character is using. So right away I have a character talking, and then if I use a different word rather than said, I have some expression so the reader knows how that character is also feeling. Another one that we can use is onomatopoeia, which is a sound effect, okay? So an example of this is, "Bzz, the mosquito by Greta's ear woke her up in the humid tent." So the onomatopoeia in this is the bzz, that sound, that first, I don't know, it's not really a word, but that first sound right there. And that really is using the sensory detail of hearing to put the reader into the setting, okay? Our next option, our next lure we have is to ask a question. And asking a question is a really good way to to keep the reader reading because they want to know the answer. So I have an example of this here is, "Greta squinted her eye open. Where was she?" The next one, which is my favorite thing to use, is starting with an action using exciting verbs, because those verbs really tell the reader what's happening and can really help them visualize what's taking place. So my example here is, "Greta slapped the tent flap open and wobbled her way out to the campfire." All right, so a snapshot, this is kind of giving a overview of what's happening to your character. And now this one is a really good one if you use those sensory details and you want to make sure that you're being kind of specific about this, because if you talk about it too vague or don't give enough details, then it's not an engaging beginning, right? So an example of this would be, "Greta yawned in her red sleeping bag as she tried to fall back asleep in the sticky tent." And then the next one here is a flashback. So this is something that already happened, or maybe something that the character doesn't realize yet, but by the end of the book will realize. So the example of this is, "Greta woke up that morning ready to start a typical day at the Birchwood campsite. But it would be the last normal morning Greta would have for a while." All right, so then that makes your reader want to be like, "Oh, why is this the last normal morning?" Right? All right, so we have gone through all these lures here. We have dialogue, onomatopoeia, we've asked a question, we've used an action, snapshot, and flashback. So all of these are really good options that will really hook a reader into your writing. So what you need to do now is I would choose maybe three, but for sure two. Three is always better. Choose three of these. I did all of them. And practice what type of engaging beginning you want to use. Once you've practiced them all and got some ideas, choose your favorite one and then go ahead and put that in your outline. So I have my outline up here, and do you see the red where it says a sentence that draws the reader into your story? That's your engaging beginning. And then you can just paste that right in there. So mine is, "Greta slapped the tent flap open and wobbled her way out to the campfire." All right, so put that in your outline and keep working on your writing.